India 75. Today, as I was going through the papers, settling them, this particular page of the Indian Express newspaper uh, caught my eye, and it is India 75. Play it as it was. Now, this is by the whole page is by Shubra Gupta, a well-known film critic, that she's given her one line cryptic comments on 75 films she feels showcases India in all its aspects, Indian psyche in all its aspects, maybe social, political, religious, economic, through the prism of Indian cinema. Let's just go through her one-liners. They're very interesting. Uh, first one she puts as Chandralekha, 1948, Tamil Hindi. It's drum sequence made dance spectacle mandatory in masala films. Second, Nagarik, 1952, Bengali. Ritvik Ghatak's openly political look at an immigrant family, the victims of Bengal's partition. Third, she writes, is Do Bigha Zameen, 1953, Hindi. Bimal Roy's classic about a poor peasant, played by the incomparable Balraj Sahni, spoke of a country's growing inequalities. Fourth is Pather Panchali, 1955, Bengali. Satyajit Ray put India on the world map with this felt portrait of a Bengali village life, the first in the coming of age of Apu trilogy. Fifth is Devdas, 1955, Hindi. Dilip Kumar Devdas became a palimpsest for all self-obsessed young lovers. Sixth, Jagte Raho, 1956, Hindi. Raj Kapoor's innocent gaonwala wandering through the city, desperate to slake his thirst in a sharp satire on the urban-rural divide. 7. Mother India, 1957, Hindi. Mehboob Khan turned Nargis into Bharat Mata. Mothers in popular Indian cinema have since had to be suitably sacrificed. 8th is Naya Daur, 1957, Hindi. The Perils of Progress, a rumination on the old order changing reluctantly, lovely melodies, and the winsome Dilip Vijayantimala pair. Then we have the next is Pyasa, 1957, Hindi. How does a poet handle the onslaught of the banal lie at the heart of Guru Dutt's meditation on the state of the nation? 10th, Sujata, 1959, Hindi. Reform, untouchability, and Nutan under Bimal Roy's baton in a rare mainstream exploration of the elephant in the room. Has reservation changed? Has reservation changed anything? Jungli, 1961, Hindi. Shami Kapoor's stubby, brash hero yahoos his heroines off their feet to give us a unique brand of Hindi rom-com, a mix of family dramas, romance, class conflict, and a very happily ever after. 12. Sahib Bibi or Ghulam, 1962, Hindi. Abrar Alvi's film shows the decaying grandeur of Bengal zamindars. 13. Mahanagar, 1963. Bengali. Satyajit Ray's masterly exploration of women in the workplace and thinking for themselves and the power of the red lipstick. 14. Hakikat, 1964, Hindi. Hindi cinema's first proper and still the best in the genre war propaganda film, picking on resurgent nationalism after the short-lived 1962 war with China. Then 15 is Chimain, 1965, Malyalam, an empathetic excavation of female desire up against societal mores is a classic, a great example of how powerful socially conscious films never go out of vogue. Then she chooses the next one is we have Guide, 1965 Hindi, Vijay Anand's far ahead of its time look at moral codes, transgressions, and women who want to live for themselves. The women who wants to live for themselves. 17. Bhuvan Shome, 1969 Hindi. Mrinal Sen's low-budget marvel about a self-important babu and a pretty woman started the new cinema movement. 18. Sara Akash, 1969 Hindi. Basu Chatterjee's directorial debut on the problems of arranged marriages and patriarchal attitudes was the harbinger of the middle-of-the-road cinema. Uski Roti, 1969 Hindi. Experiments with form were Manikol's forte, and his kind of stylized storytelling was brand new for Indian cinema. Then 20 is Samskara, 1970 Kannad. This morality tale, directed by Pattabhirama Reddy and scripted by Girish Karnad, challenged Brahmin orthodoxy. Then 21 is Anubhav, 1971 Hindi. Basu Bhattacharya directed Sanjeev Kumar and Tanuja in a rare, complex and strikingly real portrayal of marriage. 22. Shantatai Court Chalu Aahe, 1971 Marathi. Satyadev Dubey's Avant-garde classic tells of the taboo subject of women's sexuality and quick judgments. 23. Ankur, 1973 Hindi. Shyam Benegal's masterly debut about oppressive feudal structures started the short-lived but glorious stream of parallel cinema. Garam Hawa, 1973 Hindi. M.S. Satyu's look at the plight of Muslims who stayed back in India after partition. Then you have Andhi, 1975 Hindi. Gulzar's politically inflected romance with Suchitra Sen's strong Neta drew sharp establishment ire but sneaked past the censors. 26. Diwar, 1975 Hindi. The angry young man born in Zanjeer, 1973, came of age in this crime drama. 27. Sholay, 1975 Hindi. A handless Thakur, too good at heart, layabouts, a chatterbox with a mare, and the villainous Gabbar Singh, Ramesh Sippy turned the spaghetti western into a masala film. 28 is Kissa Kursi Ka, 1978 Hindi. Showing the excesses of the emergency, its original reels burnt by Sanjay Gandhi's thuggish minions. The final film, effective if crude, proved cinema critical of the establishment will always have a hard time. 29 is Agra Harathil Kazutai, that is Tamil, 1972. A donkey wanders into a village and challenges establishment order in this acrid commentary by John Abraham. This in Tamil. Then we have Ghata Shraddha, 1977 Kannad. Girish Kasrawali's powerful debut on the plight of a pregnant young widow seen through a boy's eyes tells how a woman's body is everyone's but hers. 31, she puts as Akrosh, 1980 Hindi. Directed by Govind Nihalini, written by Vijay Tendulkar and brought to shattering life by Om Puri, the film shows the helplessness and burning anger of the oppressed. Then you have 32, Elipathyam, 1982, Malayalam. Adur Gopal Krishnan's masterful portrait of a man clinging to his feudal ways, paralleling the disintegrating work outside his Tharuvadu. That is his home. Outside his home is a rat in a trap of his own making. 33, it is Umbaraha. It is Marathi, 1982. Jabbar Patel's film about a woman's search for identity and self-worth. 34 is Jane Bhi Do Yaro, 1983, Hindi. Kundan Shah's absurdist drama on corruption and out-of-control construction ruining Bombay hasn't been bettered. Laugh, rage and roll, Yaro. 35 is Maya Miriga. It is 1984 and it is Nirad N. Mohapatra's exploration of intergenerational family politics and the problems of upward mobility was one of the first ocular films to receive national attention. Anyways. 36. Party, Hindi. Govind Nihalini's supremely acerbic look at the cocoons of the haves and the fate of the have-nots. 37. Damul, Hindi, 1985. Prakash Jha's take on the stark desperation of bonded labourers. 38. Nayakan, 1987, Tamil. Mani Ratnam gave a crackling new life to the gangster film with this hat tip to The Godfather, showing how far ahead Tamil cinema was in storytelling and technical finesse. 39 is Halodiya Chore Bahodan. Kai. How an innocent villager goes up against an exploitative landlord to get back his land is one of Jahanus Barua's best remembered films. 40 is Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, 1988, Hindi. Mansoor Khan's debut reunited Hindi cinema with teen romance, made stars out of Amir Khan and Juhi Chawla, also the last time you would see rebellious young lovers in Hindi cinema. 41. Ore Oru Gramathile. That is 1981. Tamil, directed by K. Jyothi Pandyan. This film questioned caste-based reservation, became a controversial and faced ban. Then you have 42. It is Puravi, 1989, Malyalam. Shaji N. Karun's moving portrait of a father's endless wait or his vanished son is a testament to the excess of the emergency. 43. Maine Pyar Kiya, 1989, Hindi. Suraj Bharjatia's debut resurrected his family's fortunes, created a template for the clean, family-friendly, youthful romance, and gave us Prem Akash Salman Khan. 44. Saw Salim Langre Pe Matro, 1989, Hindi. The poison dripping from communal riots seeps into the ground. Sayyid Akhtar Mirza directs the brilliant Pawan Malhotra as a young man in search of a way out of a quagmire. 45 is Uneshi Uneshi April, that is 1984, Bengali. Ritu Parno Ghosh's spiky relationship drama about a successful mother and resentful daughter gave us a new voice in Bengali cinema, which made universal the quotidian and the intimate. 46. Hum Aapke Hain Kaun? The happy, jolly Hindu joint family and its intense preoccupation with marriage rituals cemented Hindi cinema's love for mandaps and Mangal Sutras. 47. Dil Wale Dulhania Le Jayenge, 1995, Hindi. Aditya Chopra's first film deep-sixed all ideas of rebellious young love using NRI nostalgia as a hook and gave Shah Rukh Khan his most successful film, which he is still having to live up to. 48. Bombay, 1995, Tamil. The second of Mani Ratnam's political trilogy with Raja and Dilse was set in the backdrop of Bombay riots, toplined by a Hindu man-Muslim woman romance, causing massive protest when the film released. 49. Zakh, 1998, Hindi. Mahesh Bhatt's film, one of his best, and backed by Ajay Devgan, presaged the rise of Hindu fundamentalism. 50. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Karan Johar's debut turned future Bollywood romances firmly towards a shiny gap aesthetic in which characters are designed and turned out for our celebrate. I can't get the word. Anyway, 51 is Satya, 1998, Hindi. Ram Gopal Varma drew upon a galaxy of new talent to ornate a stunning gangster film to give us small-time bad guys with a backstory. 52 is Lagan. A bunch of ragtag villagers beat the English in cricket in Ashutosh Gowarikkar's sprawling epic, in which the village made a brief comeback and which changed the way Hindi movies were made. 53. Dil Chahta Hai. Farhan Akhtar's sparkling romance featuring three young men and their plush surroundings changed Bollywood's uneasy relationship with the depiction of wealth. 54. Monsoon Wedding, 2001. Meera Nair appends the idea of the big fat Indian wedding in this brilliant look at Delhi farmhouse shadi. Then you have 55. Hansil, Hindi. Tigmanshu Dhulia gave us a crackling North India pathos, Hindi, heartland, pulsating university politics, and Irfan Khan in a film that changed the language Hindi cinema spoke. 56. Maqbool, 2004, Hindi. Vishal Bharadwaj's marvelous retelling of Macbeth with Irfan Khan as Maqbool was at their inflection point on the 90s. In the past was a Hindi cinema fatigued with formula. Ahead was something fresh, urgent, new. 57. My Brother Nikhil, 2005, Hindi. Homosexuality and AIDS and the fact that ignorance is worse than a deadly ailment. It was a first. Then 58 is Hazaro Khwaishein. So we have 2005, Sudhir Mishra's unflinchingly personal political lens. Political lens on the emergency era through hip, urban, young who go to Delhi University and dream of revolution. 59. Rang De Basanti, 2006 Hindi. Patriotism goes pop. In this is Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra film about a bunch of Delhi University students highlighting corruption in high places. Its impacts spilt over into real life. 60s Black Friday, 2007 Hindi. Anurag Kashyap's powerful recreation of events that led up to the 1993 Bombay blast. Banned first, then released, remains a most daring Hindi documentary drama. Then you have 61. You come to 61. Chak De India, 2007 Hindi. Kabir Khan, former member of the national hockey team and current coach of a ragtag girls team, fights against charges of being anti-national. Shimit Amin's rousing sports drama with Shah Rukh Khan in one of his best performances touches upon communalism and gender bias in Indian sports. 62. Udan, 2010 Hindi. A teenager's rocky relationship with a distant father, exact opposite of cuddly papas. Vikramaditya Motwane's stunning debut remains Bollywood's truest coming of age. 63. Pipli Live. The dehumanizing poverty in India's rural areas, the issue of farmers' suicide, and how TV channels make a circus out of anything is subject to Anusha Rizvi's satire. 64 is Love, Sex or Dhoka, 2010 Hindi. Cutting across the multi-layered intercaste relationships, women's sexual freedom, incorporating Me Too, much before the Me Too movement broke out. Debankar Banerjee broke all the rules. 65. Deol, Marathi, 2011. Religion and politics come together in a delicious mix in Umesh Vinayak's Kulkarni's satire. 66 is Vicky Donor, 2012 Hindi. Shujit Sirkar with writer Juhi Chaturvedi created a new age Bollywood hero in this comedy featuring virile young Punjabi men, sperm donors, and the overpowering desire for one's progeny. Ayushmann Khurrana was a man for it. Then you have 67 Fundry, 2013 Marathi, a harrowing film by Nagraj Manjule about a Dalit family forced to eke out a living by capturing pigs is a necessary slap in the face. 68 Queen, 2014 Hindi. What real freedom means to a young woman looking at marriage and kids dumped at the last minute. Kangana Ranaut's act makes this feminist statement exceptional. Court, 69, 2014 Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, English. Chaitanya Tamane's observational satire on the state's suspicions against a revolutionary poet, come social activist, a municipal worker who dies cleaning drain. A savage attack on the apathy of the legal system that favors the rich and lets down the poor. 70s Bahubali, 2015 Telugu. S.S. Rajamouli went big, bigger, biggest with his two-part proto-mythological fantasy and never seen before tech specs in Indian cinema. Hollywood sat up to notice. Then we have 71 Visa Rana. That was 2016 Tamil. Vetri Maram creates a chilling drama about the abuse of power when vested in the hands of the upholder of law and order, complicit in creating disharmony on the orders of dishonest politicians and lawyers. 72 is Newton, 2017 Hindi, Amit Masurkar's satire about the state of our democracy and the it's about the appropriation of the tribal voice in Maoist influenced Middle India bites hard. Okay, then we have Periyerum